What's going on, guys? TKD one take video, and today it is another Monday. That means another installment of music in history. And this man just dropped an album. Am I gonna review it? I might review it. I might not. I'm still leaning on it because I'm definitely gonna review Usher's album that he just dropped. But I'm thinking about reviewing this guy's album. And this guy, has he's a pretty good rapper. I'm a fan, right? Nonchalantly, not anything hardcore. But this week I decided to cover him. So today we're gonna be covering Mac Miller on Music in History. Now, there's a lot of stories about artists that have different ways of getting money for studio time, back in the day when they didn't have a lot of money, right? So, Mac Miller, what he would do is some things that a little bit are questionable and a little bit kind of crazy. So, him and his friends would go to parties for two reasons, okay? One, to obviously have a good time, and the other part is they would actually steal TVs from the houses. Yes, if Mac Miller was at your party, he may or may not have attempted or actually did steal your TV back in high school. And what he would also do is that he would also invite girls over to an apartment that he had back in high school, and he would actually steal from their purses. So he would invite girls over and wanting to do probably some other stuff, but end up would actually steal from their purses. So that's probably not the only thing he would steal that night with the girls, but that's one of the things that he did. He would actually steal from their purses. Now, onto the topic of school, right? So Mac Miller, right? He has a lot of friends. He's a very, friendly guy, obviously. And his friends did confirm that he went to high school. Yes, he went to school. That was actually a thing that he did. Specifically, Taylor Alderdice High School in Pittsburgh. But what he also did was that he also did not go to class, right? That's something that was confirmed by his friends. He would never go to class. He would just go to school. Now, why you ask, why would he go to school, not to class? What he would do actually is that he would stay around school and just give out his music to people. He'd just give his stuff that he was working on, new EPs, whatever. He would just give them out to people around school so that he would have kind of an outlet to give his music to, kind of to jumpstart his career, if you will. And he missed so much school that honestly his friends actually admitted that he probably should not have graduated. He probably should not have graduated at all. But according to his friends, due to Mac Miller's likeness overall, good guy type of feel, and also his way of getting his teachers to feel that he was innocent and that he was just a person that was trying to pursue his music career, that was the reason why he skipped classes. It wasn't because he was lazy or it was because he was a degenerate. He convinced his teachers that he was skipping class because he was trying to pursue a career. And so they made him graduate high school, and they passed him, and he actually graduated high school while missing so much of class, which I'm pretty mad at that, because I want to miss class and still graduate. I had to go to class. I still go to class. I don't want to go to class, but I have to graduate. And this guy gets to just do it like it's nothing. But that is some facts about him back in school. Now, another way that he would make money, to pay, his rent for his apartment, or, to do studio time for his music, he would do a lot of other things, and one of those things was selling weed. Now, he was referred to as, quote, a very rude and bad drug dealer, right? Not in the sense that bad drug dealer meaning that, he couldn't sell weed. That wasn't his issue. He could sell weed, perfectly fine, just like, a lot of other people that sell weed do. He was fine with that. The issue with him was that he would get low-grade weed and promise that it was high grade and then sell it at a high grade price. So he'd be selling weed that was crap, but selling it as if it was like, the best weed ever, right? And on top of that, when he did have high grade weed, from time to time he might have, stumbled across some high grade weed. When he did have it, he would sell it at that high price, but then use that high price rather, than to get ahead in his finances and, just get ahead, with, I guess, putting money away for the future. He would blow that on studio time, which some people, which me actually, I wouldn't really call it blowing his money away, just because, he was investing it in his career that actually, turned out for him. But, a lot of people would argue that that was probably a irresponsible way to deal with his high amount that he was getting for selling high grade weed or high grade weed. Now, a lot of people, and of course Mac Miller is not obliged to this, a lot of people go through some rough times. They go through some sad times. They go to depression. And Mac Miller is no different in this vein. He has gone through, a lot of things that, I assume that he has gone into detail about and maybe in some interviews. But definitely he has had a time of depression and a time of sadness, right? And so going into his 2015 album, Good AM, I guess you would say, or GO:ODAM, right? Going into that album back in 2015, he decided that he wanted to take a lighter heart feeling to the album. He wanted to make, a happy album, a fun album, like an album that was something that you could bump in the car with your friends, and not an album, that was so depressing and so sad, right? And he chose that, mainly because he did not want to come back in a depressed state of mind, right? So, there was definitely a pause in between, his time of sadness, and him coming out with an album. And he did not want to come back to the limelight and come back to, his Mac Miller persona, being depressed. And this is something that we see a lot, mainly the biggest person we have had this with is The Weeknd, right? So The Weeknd, he has mixtapes. Okay, if you know music, you probably know those mixtapes. Like, kind of a big deal, kind of a big deal, right? So a lot of people, when he released Kissland, when he released, a lot of people criticize him for not having that depressing, sad tone that a lot of people enjoyed back in his mixtapes, right? And so he, has been out front and stated that, like, listen, I don't make sad music anymore because I'm not in that state of mind. I'm not sad anymore. I'm not, in that depressed, weird funk anymore, right? So my music, is gonna, reflect what I am right now, and it's not going to fake that, right? And I feel like that, is kind of the underlying message that I hope that, a lot of people understand here, is that music is created by actual people, guys. Like, these are actual people with actual feelings, actual, human beings that are making this music, right? And they are going to create what they are directly, right? So they're going to put out into the world what they are, period, right? And if you don't, then you're probably a fake. But beside the point, you are going to create, bottom line, what you are and what you feel, right? You are and what you feel is what you create, right? So a lot of people were just like, bag on him that, for not making music that was, the way they preferred it. But how can you kind of say that? You know what I'm saying? Like, if an artist moves on from a hard period of time and they create, better, not better music, per se, but more lighthearted music, a different type of style of music, why would you bag on them for that? Like, I understand that, you might have a preference, but at the bottom line, that music that you liked is still there. It's not like it went away. It's still there. You can still listen to it. But, just this new style isn't, it's just natural. It's just how he feels. You know what I'm saying? I just kind of want to get that rant out there because I see a lot of that, especially with The Weeknd. So I hope, you guys that have been hating on Mac Miller, stop. Cut it out. And the last fact I have here is that Mac Miller is obviously a creator. He's obviously, a visionary, you would say. He is obviously, someone that has a lot of creativity and passion, right? And so people like that usually like to talk. They like to conversate. They like to, expose themselves. They kind of like, to give their input on things, right? That's kind of a general trend I think we can all agree with here, right? So Mac Miller, right, he likes to talk, right? That's, a pretty common thing you would say. And but what he has is he has a thing that he likes to talk about the most. And the thing he likes to talk about the most is the meaning of life. He says that this is his favorite pastime. It is something that he holds holy to him. It's cherished in his eyes. And the meaning of life is something that he apparently loves to do and that he does on a pretty considerable and pretty consistent basis. So if you ever get a chance to meet Mac Miller in person, bring up the meaning of life and he might have a in-depth and serious talk with you about the meaning of life. And so, yeah, that is all I got for today. If you guys enjoyed the content down below, make sure to like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, all the support. I appreciate it. All the feedback you guys give me, I really appreciate it. Also, in the comment section below, let me know what you guys want to hear next Monday, what artists you would like me to dive into, all that good stuff. And also, let me know what you guys think about Mac Miller as an artist. And in the description, you can find my Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, all that good stuff. Right from there. Thanks for watching. And as always, I got you.